So today we're going to talk about directing for the theater, and then we'll get into design for the theater. I just put a little quote here that says the first 9 commandments for a director are thou shalt not bore. So it's the director's responsibility to make the audience, or hope that they're to make the audience interested and to work towards gaining the audience's interest. In ancient Greece, the playwright was also responsible for staging his play and often acted in them as well. Eventually, during the medieval times, the staging was so elaborate and there were so many actors that one person was in charge of the execution. This person started overseeing the scenery as well. So when we get to modern directors, Stanislavski, who we'll talk about when we get to acting, is pretty much the person that kind of stands out in terms of modern directors, and he brought about the age of actor management. So as we go through this PowerPoint, I want you to consider what is a director and the jobs the director has to do to keep the focus and the whole concept into fruition. Oftentimes, you'll see a person who's a great actor, but if they don't take direction well, they have a hard time getting work as an actor. And in terms of a director, oftentimes directors have to be actors, maybe not so much good actors, but have to understand the craft of acting so that they can speak with actors and understand how actors work. And the same thing goes for designers. Have all of those understandings so that they can speak and coordinate all of those people. So we're going to talk about the responsibilities for the director, but one of the main responsibilities for a director is to come up with a production concept, which is the dramatic master metaphor or the artistic central image, and it translates the ideas of the play on the stage. It informs everything that's going on the stage, including design, casting, staging, and acting. When we think of the production concept or the central image, basically we might think of modern Shakespeare and how it's been produced on film. Examples are Othello as O, Twelfth Night as She's the Man, Romeo and Juliet as West Side Story. So their production concept is how to make it modern. A production concept could also include ideas of like maybe making Oedipus a mystery, or sometimes production concepts aren't that good, and we've seen plenty of things on stage and in film where the whole thing is kind of messed up because the production concept is messed up. Maybe it might be like Hamlet in outer space. A great example of a production concept on film is, if any of you are familiar with The Princess Frog. The Disney version is not like the version that many of us grew up reading. They decided to make the production concept the central image of the story be in New Orleans with an African American princess. So we see a photo here from Apollo, which is discussed in your book, the play Apollo. The play is about the scientist trying to find out what happened on a spaceship. And this is a great example of a production concept informing the scenery, because the director wanted to show that there was just so much information, and they put all of these boxes on stage so that the audience can literally see all of this information. When you get a chance on D2L, please go and watch the video clips from the 2 different versions of the same play, Romeo and Juliet. The first version is more of a William Shakespeare's staging of the play. And then the second version transposes the story to present-day Los Angeles, connecting the warring families to gang wars. Watch the opening scene and hear the exact same words, but see different scenery, different costumes, and how the actors are saying the words totally differently. So your book discusses directors' responsibilities. The first responsibility for the director is to choose the play, and sometimes the director has to get permission to do the play, either from the entity that the director is working under and or from the publishing company of the play. Once that play is chosen, the director may work with the dramaturg to come up with the historical context of the play, and then the director comes up with that production concept in collaboration with the designers. Then the director has to audition and cast the actors and work with them to establish character development and relationships between the actors, ensemble building, all of those things that are part of what the actors do. And then that also includes blocking the play, which we will discuss. The director has to maintain professional and creative atmosphere for everyone involved in the production of the play. The director builds the rhythm of the play so that it involves the audience. And then the director is responsible for coordinating the technical and design elements, including the set, lights, sound, and special effects. So all of those designers will work independently, but they have to work together in a lot of ways as well. So the director coordinates that. For instance, the lighting designer needs to know how the set is going to be built so they can know where to put the lights. One thing that goes hand in hand with production concepts is non-traditional casting, and it might again be something the director would do. Non-traditional casting just means that the casting is not like how the playwright or the writer originally meant for the characters to be. This can include people with disabilities, people of different ages, people of casting different genders, different races, ethnicities. Mainly, it could just be the character doesn't look like how we normally would have imagined that character to look. A great example of non-traditional casting is the 1997 ABC TV movie of Cinderella. It's totally different from the Disney animated version that many of us remember as children, where Cinderella was blonde and the prince was tall, dark, and handsome. Here, Cinderella is Brandy, and she has an Asian prince. The prince's parents are an interracial couple, and the stepmother and the stepsisters are of different ethnicities. So, as promised, we'll discuss what is blocking. Blocking is placing the actors on the set and moving them around in ways that tell the story and are interesting for the audience to see. This includes how the actors come on and off the stage, how they work with different props and the set, and how they work with each other. Oftentimes, directors will come up with stage pictures, which literally means the actors might freeze at a specific point on stage, and then the director figures out how to put them in that position. So it's something interesting for the audience to see. It's aesthetically pleasing for the audience. It's the director's responsibility to paint that picture for the audience. These are called tableaus, and it literally means that actors freeze in a specific position so we can see a picture. Here's a great example. Well, we'll talk about a specific tableau when we when we get to The Lion King. The stage manager works hand in hand with the director as well. The stage manager manages everything that goes on for the production. They are often the director's right-hand person. The director does a lot of the artistic stuff, and the stage manager puts it into motion. They are in charge of taking notes on everything, including the blocking, and actors and other people might also take notes. But if there's a misunderstanding, you would always defer to the stage manager's notes. The stage manager's notes should be the correct notes. Or sometimes other people don't take notes, so you often have to defer to the stage manager's notes. The stage manager also keeps track of any script changes, and then as the show is performed with the technical help, the stage manager calls the show, meaning they say go for lights and go for sound. So those technicians might often have their own script and know when the light or the sound is supposed to go, but they won't do it until they're really not supposed to do it until the stage manager says so. The stage manager also maintains the vision of the show through the run. When, like I said, in professional theater, on Broadway, for instance, the director would leave after the show opens, and maybe actors or other people would start doing their own thing. It's up to the stage manager to make sure, no, this is how it was rehearsed. This is how the director wanted it to be. Let's make sure it stays that way. So this is the tableau that I was discussing earlier from The Lion King. Julie Taymor was the director of the Broadway production of The Lion King, which is an adaptation of Disney's animated version. So her challenge was to figure out how to put the animals on stage with human actors and make it visually interesting for the audience. She decided to use a lot of Asian techniques and was able to make her concept show the duality of human and animal. So she has the animal puppets, but we can still see the human puppeteers, and they're still the soul of the animal, and the actors are visible for the audience on stage. So this is a great example of a director showing focus. Everything on the stage is watching one specific thing, and that's Simba, the puppet right there, who is the Lion King. So that pulls the focus of the audience as well, and sometimes this is a great example of how maybe the lighting designer would also illuminate the one thing that we should all be looking at, which here is Simba. The skills and talents needed for the director are in your book. They include a vision sense, a rhythmic sense, ability to analyze dramatic structure, ability to interpret through image and metaphor, communication, leadership and management skills, ability to compose stage action, physical stamina, and discipline. So after all of the rehearsal is done, there is the final performance, and we see here, we will talk about later, Master Harold and the voice in performance, because we can see the audience there. And we will also discuss the lecture when we discuss lectures. The last thing that is done before as we get ready for performance is a technical rehearsal, where the audience and the technicians, stage technicians, lighting technicians, sound technicians, work together so that they can make everything fluid for the performance. After that, which is a long, tedious rehearsal process, there's a final dress rehearsal where everything is ironed out and should be pretty much perfect. And then there's sometimes previews, where it might be 1 or 2, maybe tops 3 days of previews, again, just to make sure everything is perfect a couple of days before the cast and crew are ready for the audience to come in and see the performance that they've paid a lot of money to see. Sometimes audiences are allowed to come for dress rehearsal and previews, especially students are encouraged to come, and the ticket prices are a little cheaper usually because it's not the perfect performance. And then finally, the performance run. Again, this is where the director might stay for opening night and then leave, and it's up to the stage manager to keep the artistic vision going for the rest of the performance run.